Welcome to the Strategic Project Leader, where we help you leverage strategic project management so you can achieve your goals. Now, here's your host, Fola Alabi.
Hello, good morning, and welcome. Welcome to another fantastic episode of the Strategic Project Leader, where we help you achieve your goals to go further, faster in business and beyond. Yes, we help you leverage strategic project management to execute the right projects, the right way to get consistent results. Yes, I'm your host, Fola Alabi, your business and transformational leadership expert. Yes, my superpower is strategic project management. Today, I have my wonderful guest co-host, Jay Franzi. He's a leadership professional, a coach and author, a speaker. Jay, it's great to have you today. How are you?
I am fabulous, my friend. Thank you for having me.
I know it's always awesome to spend another time with our people on a wonderful Saturday morning. So you do not want to miss this. We've got a fantastic guest today. Goodness, he's also a Canadian. That's what makes it even way fantastic. Bill is pretty much a recognized project management expert by the Project Management Institute. He has developed project management offices. He's got experience in project management, the setup. He's an author. He's written books. The thing about it is that he loves giving back, and that's part of the reasons what caught my attention. And I'm like, Bill, you have to be here today. Let's welcome Bill. He's going to give us all of the juicy details while we talk about how you can get a seat at the table. Bill, how are you today?
Good, thank you. And again, thank you for allowing me to present today and talk to you guys. I'm thrilled to be here. And I do love that point about giving back. I think that is so important as you grow in your career and there's new people coming on board. You have to give back. We got to keep growing this industry. So excited to be here.
That's right. And for those who are actually watching us live, let us know where you're actually joining us from. The States, Canada, everywhere. We want to know where you're joining us. But before we get into that, Bill, how did your journey into project management actually start?
Yeah, it's interesting. I started as a business analyst. So as you mentioned, I'm Canadian. And so I started as a developer first, and then I moved to business analyst, and then I moved to project management. And it was funny because one of the things I was doing is I was working at social services and housing at the time. And I literally just asked, I said, I'm a business analyst and there's a project that we need to manage. There's no one stepping up to take it. Can I step up and take it? So I literally just asked and got the opportunity to do it many years ago, 31 years or something ago. So
you already dropped the gem there. For people who want to launch a career in project management, at times you need to just ask the question. You need to just talk to your leader, talk to people around you and say that I really have heard about this and I want a chance to get a seat at the table. So we haven't even gotten into that, but Bill just said thank you, Joseph, for joining us from Washington, D.C. Great to have you here this morning. And so when you were plunged into that particular role, how did you, navigate that?
Yeah, it's interesting because, we're talking 1991. So we're talking early 90s, 91, right there. PMI was still very, very big, right? And we had the PMBOK back in the day, right? But, you just start navigating through it, right? You start pulling your team together. You start really understanding. My root is in IT, so I've got a lot of IT background. I've got across different industries now, but it's really about pulling the team together and figuring out how to get it done. Using PMI though, I've been structured and rooted in the process groups and the knowledge areas, and have been since the early 90s.
So what I hear there is a lot of research and knowledge base. So you knew the knowledge areas from, planning and all of those, phases in the life cycle of a project to getting right into, communication management, change management, budgets, cost control and all that. So you were prepared for the journey ahead.
Yeah, I was, and I was actually in the role for 10 years before I even went to my certification. So what I wanted to do was understand if I loved it, understand, how to do it, what to do about it, and what to do in it. And then I worried about the certification, but we were rooted back in those concepts that PMI had put out there.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
I see the PMP next to your name, and I know
Mm-hmm.
Fola has it next to her name as well. Stands for Project Management Professional.
Yep.
Can you tell us a little bit about how one would go ahead and become a project management professional?
Yeah, actually, there's been lots of advancements in that stage over the course of PMI's career. But if you're early in your career, I strongly suggest the CAPM, the CIPM. That is really an introduction into project management. PMI.org's got all the details and all the tactics of how to do that. But there's a lot of people that want to get their certification. They want to have that thing behind their name and those letters behind their name. As a brand new project manager, in the field, go with your CAPM. It's going to get you the language. It's going to talk the process groups and the knowledge areas and all that goodness that they put out there. So start with the CAPM and then go through the PMP.
So what does that one stand for?
CAPM.
Yes.
That's funny. What is certificate? CAPM. So it's certificate. Someone look that up.
Certified associate or something.
Associated project manager.
Yes, that's like a lower level for an entry level for that.
Yeah.
So it's a starting ground.
It's a starting ground. And it hadn't been around. Like, it's relatively, in the big scheme of project management, PMI, it's relatively new, but it was really smart that they did that because they gave that entry level people that path in.
So that's great. So you do that, and then you get your foot in the door and you're able to start working in the industry, and you're able to start taking on some projects and getting your feet wet, as we say.
Yeah.
So at what point do you think it's important to maybe switch gears and now pursue a PMP?
Yeah, you gotta know if you love it or not, right? There's so many people that are so, they want to quickly get that PMP and get it behind their name and feel like it's going to open the doors. And it does, that's the one aspect that it does. But I would say spend a little time in the role. Understand if that's a passion for you. You may get into this role and hate it, right? You just may not like it. And some people do not like it. When we think about the role, we balance the role between art and science, right? We've seen that. We've talked about that. There's a lot of people that are amazing in the art side. There's a lot of people that are amazing in the science side, but it's the balance that makes you successful. So you may have new people getting into the role and maybe don't like one or the other. Bail out of it. Don't hurry to get your certification. Don't, just understand if you're really passionate, you really love that role or not.
No, great point. Thank you, Joseph, for sharing.
Yeah. I think that's actually great. It's just like every profession out there, right? You go to university and you want to make a lot of money and you feel, what career am I actually going to chart the path to get off
Right.
on?
Right.
However, with project management, it's one that it's I feel is more embryonic in the sense that no one really goes to school and say, I want to become a project manager. You can grow up and say, I want to be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, but it's more like an accidental profession where people kind of just find themselves in, that profession. And so to your point, there's an art and a science to it where you need the soft skills, without a doubt, to navigate, the organization, to know how to communicate right. However, you need to also understand the business a little bit. If you're within IT, if you're within the engineering side, how does construction work? You need to understand how the business comes together. The business acumen helps you go further faster as well. However, how exactly, when you get in, how do you decide? Because I've got young professionals who come, for coaching advice and say, Fola, I want to become a project manager. Why? Because they can see the dollar amount, right? The dollar amount seems great. You're going to earn a lot of money, and that's okay. However, when you get into the job, you're like, oh my goodness, you mean I have to track schedules? I have to report on this, and if anything goes wrong as a project manager. So how do you coach a young professional who's thinking about, taking this journey? Yeah. And they feel like, yes, I can do it, because there's nothing that really is easy. No. It doesn't matter the profession you take, but what are the strategies that you have leveraged that has helped you get a smooth landing, and have you been able to just navigate everything and get the success that you have today?
Yeah, no, it's a great question because when you think about, I'm rooted in IT, right? So 30 plus years in IT, and so when brand new project managers come to me, what I often say is start with IT, right? I can't give you construction advice. I've never been a construction project manager. It's a whole world. They're amazing folks that build bridges and buildings and stuff. I can't give you that. But if you're brand new and you're just starting, start with an IT role, right? Start with a predictive or a waterfall, start with a junior project manager role, a coordinator role, and really work alongside. One of my PMOs at a very large software company in Redmond, Washington, we actually had project coordinators. And we took brand new project coordinators, put them with seasoned project managers, and they learned how to take minutes and do action items and risks and issues. And it was an amazing entry period into their career. So I always say start with software, but when you think about marketing, you think about research, you think about real estate and healthcare and stuff, the root of project management is all the same. The only caveat I'm going to throw out, and I am not an expert, is in construction.
It's interesting when you say that the pieces, even with construction project management, used to follow in the same process.
Yeah.
It's more linear. It's more even waterfall. You can't even say, okay, because I want to be fast, right? We're going to do a road construction rather than, pouring the concrete later. I'm going to do it when I've done something else. You
100%.
have to follow a set process without a doubt. So with the construction guys, I feel that they even have it a little bit easier because once you go to school, you know what needs to happen. You follow that process, except technology kind of changes. Then oh yes, we have to tweak this a little bit. But with IT, it's an ever moving target, right? It's agile today. It's waterfall. It's like, how can we, create the solution and, get the prototypes done? We talk about Scrum, we talk about Kanban, it's all everything together. But to your point, I think it's an easy way for new professionals to get in and understand, how exactly does this particular profession actually work. I
Yeah.
think it's easy, and because for me, it even goes beyond a career. It is a lifestyle.
Mhm.
Because when you think about project management in and of itself, you learn how to plan better. You learn how to budget. You learn
Yep.
how to schedule.
Yep.
You learn how to procure. I apply this in my business. I apply this in my personal life, and so that's kind of what I always encourage people to see this beyond just another 9 to 5 career you want to get. Think about how you can scale your entire life, how you can go further faster in life. So can you kind of share any insights as to have you ever thought about this or leverage this in your personal life before we get into the secrets
100%.
of
100%. I agree with you. I mean, you can get crazy with it, right? And, a trip to Costco could be a project that you have to plan and execute and control and all that stuff. But I'm currently working on a house reorg right now, or a redo right now. We've had a water leak, and we basically had the same situation come up. We've had to hire folks. We've had to schedule it. We've had to plan it. We've walked through those knowledge areas. We've walked through the rebuilding of our kitchen, of our bathroom, of our living room, and we've applied the same project management principles. What's interesting though is I'm working with construction project managers. I'm working with the trades, and I'm saying, well, where's my status report? Where's my schedule? Where's my change control? Right? And so it is interesting, but yeah, I'm deep in the middle of it right now. And so you're always applying project management to your everyday life.
Fantastic. So I think we're going to dive in really. I know you've got this key 5 strategies for people who are actually watching us, right? Bill has scaled. He's done the role. He started as a business analyst. He's moved up and now he's the director and he's managing major transformations. He set up PMO. So he wants to walk through. He's created this 5 key strategies, which you can actually download on SPL podcast/Bill after the show. You can get a free copy of this. So Bill, can you walk us through this particular roadmap that you've created for project managers to get a seat at a leadership table?
100%. And I first say the first thing you have to do is you have to earn it. Okay. There's no free lunch, right? You need to be able to get in there and really deliver projects on time, on budget, with quality, with customer satisfaction, with the right ROI. But number one is you have to earn it. Once you start delivering, right? So once you start delivering and you're building the confidence of your functional manager, your PMO manager, your leadership, you're going to start getting asked to that seat at the table. I have got some amazing project managers that I've worked with through the course of my 30 years. And some of those project managers you want with beside you at that table, because you want to be able to know that as you're working through the complex issue, or that the start of a new project or the planning of a project, that project manager can actually take that from the beginning to the end. And so you have to earn it. The first point is really earning it.
So they have to earn a seat at the table.
Yeah.
In earning that, I see again the science and the art.
Yeah.
Because you could see project managers who have delivered projects on time, on budgets and all that. However, they're not really good navigating I won't call it politics of the organization, but I'll call it people intelligence now.
Yeah.
Understanding how to communicate, know the right things and the right people to actually network with, because you could be great and then it's just within your bubble.
Yeah.
What strategies can they actually leverage to build that particular muscle and be great people leaders?
Yeah, no, it's a great point, because we often go down this firefighter concept, right? The firefighter project manager, which I don't love, but sometimes you need, they will come in and they will save the day. They will turn the project around. Regardless of what happens and how they do it, they will basically turn that project around. What has happened is the previous project manager has missed those two key components of the art, the communications, the influence without authority, the emotional intelligence, and in some case, the science of the risk logs and the issue logs. And so when you think about building that skill set, when you ask, well, what are some of the things you can do, is you can focus on the people side or the art side. See, a lot of project managers think, just do risk logs, just do schedules, just do action item logs, right? And they miss that connection. So quick story, over my 30 plus years, I have had 1 year where I, as a project manager, had direct authority over my team, which means I was a hire fire. It was a contract situation, but in 1 year out of 30, I had that direct authority over the team, which means the influence without authority, which is a huge skill set a project manager has to take or has to learn, would be one place I would direct people. Learn how to influence someone without that direct authority.
Learn how to influence without authority. That's huge. Even for leaders who have got the authority to do so. If you understand how to influence people, and then they just want to do it because they love your leadership, they love what you're doing, they understand the values, they understand, what exactly we're trying to get to. That comes back to change management. I know you're also ProSci certified, which I am as well.
Yeah.
When people understand why the change is happening, what does it mean for me, how it's going to impact me, and why we're doing it all together, and they are part of making it happen, it's way easier to actually ensure it's actually adopted across the team. Jay as well, he runs like major he's got a lot of officers working for him, like at different levels as well, and he manages that all the time. I'm like, Jay, how do you juggle that? He's around on the field and stuff, and ensuring that one has like that natural influence and people want to work with you, people understand the benefits of that, I think is really, really huge. So thanks for actually mentioning that.
It's not part of the job, right? So project managers are not functional managers. And if they're not hire and fire people, they're really going to, that influence with authority is a critical skill. Critical.
Well, you talk about that, and we talk about this all the time when we're putting projects together. There's more to it than just the project itself, right? There's metrics we have to meet. There's goals that we have to achieve. So can you talk about that? I believe that ties into your step 2. So what is the business behind putting these projects together?
Yeah, I love that. So when step 2 is understand the business of your project. So let me kind of talk about that a little bit. And so I agree with the metrics, and I've been doing metrics for a while and stuff, but where I'm going with that is if you understand the business of the projects that you're trying to run, Okay, so for example, if you're running a marketing project and you understand marketing, you understand email sequences, you understand the details around that project, it gets you more ingrained into that project and it gets you a seat at that table. Because here's the thing, if you're just checking a box, you're just doing an issue log, a risk log, you're just kind of cranking through the process groups and the knowledge areas, you're not providing a lot of value. You're not going to get a seat at the table. But if you're actually understanding the business, what does it mean to send an email sequence out? What does it mean to do this? What does it mean to do whatever it is of the business of the project you're running? You're going to have a much better understanding. I see that with my project managers all the time across the years of working with them. The ones that dive into the business and go, what are we doing? What are we trying to do? What's the business objective? What are you trying to do with this actual project? Are far more successful than the ones that have a great schedule, have a great risk log. So understand that business.
I call that having a strategic mindset. So when you have a business area or product you have to actually deliver on, understanding even the bigger picture is absolutely critical, because you running a project is one piece of the pie. When you look at that project could be connected within a program, which means that probably he's got maybe a finish to start relationship. And so if your project obviously goes wrong, it means that it's going to affect another project.
Right.
So understanding how everything interconnects is absolutely key. And even how it fits into the overall portfolio, how does my project help the organization move forward? How does my project affect the overall strategic goal or the key drivers of the organization? Does it mean that if my project goes, falls under, the organization loses maybe like 2% of its revenue, whatever that is? It puts you in a better position, to become a leader. And even when you're talking to your team, they kind of understand this is a big deal, we are part of the people driving things. We're the ones that kind of making things happen. People are more excited because they know that, oh yes, what I'm doing actually matters. So having a strategic mindset to understand, how your piece of the pie fits into the bigger puzzle, and even taking it a step further, where you even understand even other market drivers. For instance, for the like iPhones and stuff, right? You may just be a project manager managing the next release of a phone. However, are you even trying to track what the other competition is actually doing? If I don't come in on time, does that mean that Samsung is going to probably get a lead at this? So even when you're coming back to your progress meetings with your key stakeholders, you can have those conversations and say, yes, there's a major risk at the table. And if we don't do this, it goes beyond just, a timeline, a competition, will be actually affected as well. So having that kind of conversation and those talk pushes you and pulls you further faster as well. So let's get to the next one. Yeah.
And let me just follow up real quickly on that one, because one of the interesting components to that is, and I think you're 100% right, but one of the interesting components to that is so many project managers are managing multiple projects right now. Right. And so how do you get those insights and those product details and where's Samsung going, where's iPhone going, when you're running multiple projects? So what we've done is we've kind of really hurt the industry a little bit by putting so many projects on project managers that their time is so split that they're having a harder time going as deep as they can. You need to do it. You have to do it. You have to understand your business. But we all recognize when you split a project manager so many different ways, they're going to struggle a little bit to do that. But your point is excellent.
I think for sure, this is one thing that we probably need three of us on the screen, Jay. When we look at what Bill just said, we have so many project managers working on multiple projects. So we as leaders, who are driving strategy, we are pretty much pushing them and driving them so thin. And so when project managers are actually not delivering, it may not really be just their fault, right? Because they have like 20, 50 projects, and imagine a human, right, who has to track costs, budgets, and all that. Just like Jay, you have a team and you have a leader who has like so many people they have to manage and all the deliverables, right? So what conversations needs to be, had at that very, very senior, leadership team to say, how are we managing capacity and capability? How are we able to, look at our overall portfolio to ensure that the capacity is actually optimal? What are the things that senior leaders, what should they be doing at this particular point?
Yeah, it's unfair to the project manager. It happens, and every company's doing it, and we have to balance that. I've used a 3-to-1 ratio, especially in a predictive or a waterfall. I believe that project managers can run 3, of course, depending on size and complexity. I get that, but 3-to-1 feels better. Or feels roughly right, but there's no exact calculation. But it's unfair to put so many projects on project managers and then them to expect to deliver at the highest quality consistently. It's really tough.
And so how do we have those conversations then? You know what I mean? So I know that you have the 3-to-1. So when you come in to, speak with an executive president and you say, we have a $500 million portfolio, for instance, and we have probably just 50 project managers working really thin. What strategies can you give other business leaders who are actually watching today as to how should you have that conversation?
Yeah, it's a data conversation. It's all about data, right? So some project managers can run 5 and 6 projects. Some can run 1. Obviously, size and complexity, experience, background, but it's data. It comes down to the data. How many projects are in red? How many projects are, delivering on time? How many change requests, right? When you're running a large PMO, and I've ran 10, it's all about the data. Data drives different decisions. Data drives, how many can we put onto a person? Can they run 3, 4 successfully and still execute and do the things that we need them to do to deliver the project? So it comes down to data, good Power BI reporting, good data reporting.
Let me ask you, Bill, you mentioned data again here, and we go back to metrics and so forth.
Yeah.
But we have those goals, we have those objectives, but how can we ever hit those goals and objectives without the trust of our team? So can you talk a little bit about trust?
Yeah, 100%. And that was the third step. Thank you. So building trust, right? One of the things when you're looking for a seat at the table, you want to build the trust across your customers, your leadership, and your team members. And so how do you build that trust is you're in it with them. Right? You are delivering for them as much as they're delivering for you. Right? You're all rowing a boat together. You're all on the same path and the same journey. And so you build that trust over time. Trust needs to be earned. Right? Trust is done on how you handle it day to day. Right? When you're working with them every day, there's a level of trust you build. And so it's this constant mechanism of continuing to work with them day to day to day to day to be able to build that trust with them. They trust you, you trust them.
No, very good. No, I appreciate that. So let's continue. Let's go through your next step here.
Now, number 4 was hone your craft, right? And so really this is where we came back to when we talked earlier was the art and science, right? So you've got to be good at both. If you are good at one and not the other, you're going to struggle, right? If you are an amazing communicator and you have great social relationships and you have a horrible schedule and a horrible risk log, you're not going to be successful. So when I say hone your craft, really get good at delivering both sides of the art and the science and see some victories, get some victories under your belt. Right? Start delivering these projects on time, on budget, whatever the parameters are of what you need to deliver, the sprints, the DevOps, whatever the case may be. And then you're going to be asked to have that seat at the table. But great project managers leaders want those project managers by their sides.
So we need to hone our craft. So it's all about continuous improvement, right? Yep. There's always something that we could always do better. Yep. And I want us to really dive into that particular piece because I've seen a lot of project managers who feel, yes, we're going to run our sprint. At the end of it, we're going to understand, okay, what really went well? What can we do differently? Or what exactly went really great? How can we ensure that project managers get to understand the extreme value of lessons learned? Yeah. Lessons learned, and people kind of see things of, we kind of failed, but yet learning forward, failing fast, whatever you want to call it. However, taking the key lessons that we get every single time from every sprint, every iteration, right? And take that back so you can actually fix it. So especially for the new project managers, I really want to share this, right? Nothing, Rome wasn't built in a day. You're not going to become an overnight sensation just like that. However, when you ensure that you leverage your lesson learned, you can actually move really way faster because you're just going to just look at this and get the feedback from your leaders, the sponsors, the customer. Everyone comes together to say, these are the things that I actually expected, because we talk about the goal of evaluation, right? What the customer thought they wanted, what they ended up getting, right? So getting them part of the conversation as often as possible. People can say over communicate, yes, get feedback, and then you can then prioritize and say, okay, what exactly can we take now? What can we put apart? And what are the things that the customer truly needs? It's not about what you think they need. It's about what they tell you they need. You know what I mean? So how do you get them to like embrace that, Bill?
Oh, I love it because I love this topic. And one of the things that I've done and I've implemented for years now is lessons learned throughout the life of the project. I absolutely do not value that meeting at the end. And I think it's just a waste of time. Don't do it. And I know it's controversial and people don't love that. But what I say is lessons learned is course corrections. What we do is we implement surveys, customer surveys along the way. We're constantly asking our project managers, what are the lessons you're learning? What corrections can you make along the way? Because that end of the project meeting, people are long gone. They're already on 5 other projects. Your project's a checkbox to get on to the next one. So if you're making course corrections along the way, you can of course have that meeting, but you've built the material and you've adjusted your project along the way to therefore help have a successful project. But how many times do we see there's no repository, we don't know where the lessons learned information, it's in a PowerPoint, we're never going to use it, scrap it. Do it along the way and deliver your project and make those course corrections.
Now, Ms. Fola, I have to ask. Actually, you know what, Bill? Number 5 is ask, just ask. So, Ms. Fola, I'm going to ask you a question. With all this information, how do you think we could apply this to our personal lives?
Oh my goodness. Before we even get into personal life, I just want to add something to lessons learned. You know, when you spoke about lessons learned throughout the project, even before you start, I believe that you need to go check what are the lessons that other project managers have actually put together that are similar to yours before you even start at all. So the process of initiating a project, I feel, is absolutely critical. However, people just feel, yes, I've got a project, I've got a mandate, the charter is signed or the PED is signed for my folks in the UK. And then they just go ahead and they get a team together, we just start building things. However, I start with the lessons learned. I want to know if we've actually had a business transformation before. What did we learn from it? What were our customers saying? What were the pain points? What were the major risks? What were the issues as well? You see what I mean? And so you even ahead of time, it seems like you're already like bulletproof before you start. Oh, I think I kind of know what I need to be watching out for first. And so you build everything off of that. And then to your point, Bill, throughout the project, you just keep going back and check, course correcting. Yes. And you spoke about our personal life. Oh my goodness. Just like lessons learned. You know, I can even just start from there. How are we all applying the lessons we learn from our day-to-day activities? You know, we see our business and we feel, yes, there's a consequence, right? So we do this, and because I know that if I react a certain way to a particular issue, right, there's going to be a particular consequence. You learn from that. In our personal life, are we learning from those lessons? Are we ensuring that we can actually leverage all of this good stuff we do in the office, even in the community? Do we see our kids, you know, as key components of the life we're trying to create? What about our spouse and our relationship? Do you see them as stakeholders? I see my partner as a stakeholder, right? So I ensure that I'm communicating, I'm setting expectations. You know, we are checking back to be sure that our plans are actually aligned. We're ensuring that whatever goals that we set off to achieve, we are touching base regularly. And then, I go back as well for feedback. So as part of that course correcting, I'm course correcting in my personal life because I see success goes beyond the multi-figure salaries you make in the workplace. Life is a project. And I want you to be able to embrace project management as well in your personal life so that we can create a community, a humanity where we achieve goals consistently. Bill, how can we use this in our personal life?
Yeah. Well, again, I'm going through a remodel right now, and so I'm constantly using it, right? And I'm constantly looking at schedule changes and change requests and budget, and oh, it's a 2,000 for here and 500 for here, and so life happens and things happen, and you constantly want to apply those same principles. I'm so thankful for the background of project management that I have in me to be able to go and have these conversations around this remodel that we're doing.
Oh gosh, that's awesome. There's just so much to unpack. Jay, I want to hear from you as well. How exactly are you leveraging these lessons? He's got all of this. You know that Jill kind of scaled his career as well so fast. He's done so much stuff and he just kind of hides. He's just quiet. He's just got so much, he needs to unpack. Let us hear from you, Jay.
I'll
Tell
tell
us
you
a
this,
little bit
Bill.
about it.
You mentioned project and being Costco being a project. So I think the person we really need to talk to is my wife. She's making these routine trips to Costco and she's taking care of all of those type of projects. The project is how to maintain our bank account from dwindling to nothing. But no, to answer your question, Ms. Fola, yes. I mean, career changes help. You make a career change and you got to work your way up. But I think what you're doing is you're leveraging the lessons you've learned, as you mentioned, from your previous experiences. So as you're making a career change, you can take that information that you've learned from the first career and you can apply it to the second career. And that's how you move up quicker than you did in the first career because you've got a lot of lessons and a lot of things under your belt. So I always say that, when we're talking to my team, for example, and when I'm talking to them and I want them to move up, it's learn from the lessons, learn from the mistakes that I've made, because then you'll move quicker. There's no need for you to make a mistake that somebody else has made. If you can take the time to truly learn from that mistake, go ahead and apply it to your own situation. I think that's how you learn and that's how you move up.
And I think that's a great point. The key is we don't even need to learn from our own lessons. We can learn from the lessons of others. For instance, Bill has got over 30 years of experience. He's been there. He's done that. He's got so much. We can go through this, for hours on end. Bill, how can we find you? I know that there's so much to unpack, but I know there's so much you are doing. I know that you are giving back and all, but how can people, get into tap into like all the wealth of knowledge that you have?
I absolutely put everything up on buildoutpmptraining.com. So buildoutpmptraining.com. It has my ebooks and my coaching and my webinars, and it's my one stop. So all my articles are at buildoutpmp.com, but all my training and how do you get access to me, it's all at buildoutpmptraining.com. So I tried to keep it simple, try to just add training to the end of it. And so very simple, but all the knowledge and experience build out PM, that would be build out. So that's,
we have our own issues.
So anyway, buildoutpmptraining.com would be perfect.
Fantastic. So you can actually find Bill. I think I'm just sharing that on the side. I think I've got the wrong one up. Okay. You can actually find him on his website. You actually spoke about a program that you're currently running. You've got some coaching and all that. Can you just share a little bit of that?
Yeah. So again, I really try to grow this industry. I'm really trying to help people grow, help people mentor people, and help them get into this industry because so many people are trying to get in. There's more people at the beginning of the funnel than the end of the funnel. And for us to keep project management alive, we've got to be able to give back. We've got to be able to help people. How do I get in there? How do I get started in this industry? And so it's just a huge passion for me.
Fantastic. So you can actually find Bill. What exactly are your lasting thoughts for us? So what exactly do you want everyone to take away from this particular episode?
It's an amazing career. It is an amazing, it really, project management is my passion. I'm rooted in this. I think that when you get into it and you really spend the time to try to grow, learn, put your time in the career, don't hurry for certification, understand it, love it first, right? I get the PMP, I get all the letters after your name, but be passionate about it. Learn, learn if this is the career that you want to be in. And then just continue to grow, continue to work with mentors, work with coaches, and continue to grow your skill set.
Fantastic. I think we've actually even overshot our time. It was so great to have you. We can go on and on and on, but I want to just say thank you so much for actually joining. If you found this particular piece of any value, please tell someone, share with a friend, even share with an enemy. Right now, it's like everyone needs to learn this. Humanity needs project management, so it doesn't really matter. Everyone has to get this. Let us know in the comments the key thing that you actually learned, and what you're going to be taking as a next step as well. Once again, I want to thank Bill for joining us. It's been a great pleasure. Thank you so much. JJ, where can we find you?
You can find me over at jfrenzy.com.
jfrenzy.com. Fantastic. And don't forget to like and subscribe and share. It's been fantastic. And we cannot wait to see you next week for another great time. And another piece is what is it? If you feel that you're an exceptional leader, you've got something that you've got to share with us that ties back to strategic project management, I want to hear from you as well. Have yourself a wonderful one and see you on the next one.
Thank you.